A school bus carrying middle school and elementary students flipped over.
Breaking news tonight on the Cape Fear River.
Breaking news here on WREL. A gunman opens fire in Cameron Village.
And again, people are trying to get people out of the way.
Twitter is implementing a new policy to flag tweets.
Coming on the air now with breaking news from Charlottesville, Virginia. Eva, you can see the chaos, you can see the commotion. Tell us what you've heard.
I'm Tim Stevens, and I'm about as Garner as you can be. My folks have lived here over 200 years, and a little farm down on Highway 50, and I think my oldest ancestor was here about 8 generations ago, maybe 10.
I'm Amy Griggs. I've lived here for 30 years. I have taught school most recently for about the last 15 years at North Garner, but before that, my heart and my love and passion was the Garner News.
I consider myself a storyteller. I've always been a storyteller. My wife says it runs in my family. Well, I think I got into journalism almost by osmosis. My mother was one of the first editors of the Garner News and was editor for a long time. I mean, there's just a bunch, but almost all of the ones would be about human beings doing something that makes them a better person or makes people around them a better person. I always figured there was enough negative stuff in the world that I didn't need to add to that. And when I was in charge of covering our high schools, we had one basic policy, is that you're positive. There's 2 ways to say something. You can say Billy Bob fumbled, or you can say Tommy Lee recovered a fumble. It's the same information, it's just as factual. One is positive, the other is not.
Well, I'll never forget a story that still touches me to this day. A family who lost their 5-year-old child, and they donated her organs. As time went on and the story evolved, a boy who received her heart came to Garner to visit the family. And, without a newspaper, how do you tell that story? How do you show people what we're made of around here if you don't have a place to put it? Well, without a local paper, there are so many stories like that would go untold or unshared. I think there is a function of a paper that's missing, and that is validating what people do. The children who make the honor roll and succeed in sports and go on to college and excel, and those kinds of recognitions that go flat unless you're in somebody's Facebook feed. As a paper reflecting who we are as a community is just sorely missed. So someone who drives into Garner to figure out, well, where am I and what's this place like? There's nothing at your fingertips so much like a local newspaper to tell you that.
I think the lack of a local community paper is really obvious. It used to be the local paper was a starting point for conversation. Everybody has read it. Everybody could start at the same place, and now you develop your views, which way you think or what you think is best. Now, since we don't have that common denominator, people have a tendency to seek out the news that fits what they want to read. There was a biblical passage that said that people will find teachers who will teach them what they already wanted to hear. And I think that's the way our news has kind of gotten there. Everybody says social media, but social media has a tendency to run in circles. And so how does somebody in Garner find out what's going on? The internet's got such a wide distribution area, and it's got so much to cover. They cannot devote coverage to a community